Welcome back to the WeCare podcast. I'm Jordan Vaughn, nurse practitioner.
And I'm Casey, nurse practitioner at WeCare Primary Care.
And today we are talking about something that honestly fires me up a little bit.
Yeah, same. Might step on a little bit of toes. It's okay though.
Yeah. So why so many people feel like healthcare just isn't working anymore, and what you actually deserve instead. So let's just say it. Patients, they're frustrated, and rightfully so. They wait weeks to be seen. They get 7 minutes with their provider. They leave with a prescription, and they still don't feel better.
Yeah, and I hear it every single day. They don't feel like anybody's listening. They don't feel like anybody's taking their labs seriously. They don't feel like anybody's taking their symptoms seriously. And, they'll come to me. I've been to 3 doctors. I still feel awful. And nobody's giving them answers, and kind of nobody gives them any hope either.
Yes, and here's the truth. It's not because the providers don't care. It's truly just the system is broken. It's an insurance-driven, care, and it just forces volume over relationships with those patients.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like a revolving door. I'm a huge daddy's girl, so I'll try not to cry through this one. But, same thing. My dad, we just went through a whole instance with my dad. And again, I'm not saying his cardiologist was bad, but they are in such a rush to get through because they have to see so many patients a day.
It's a revolving door for them.
Yeah. It's, you're in and out and you're in and out and you're in and out. And so, long story short, my dad started having some heart issues a couple weeks ago, and we got him in to see his primary care doctor, and they were like, "Oh, you're an AFib." And I was like, "Well, you just saw your cardiologist back in September, and you were not an AFib in September." So I went to his cardiologist office and I pulled his records. No, he was an AFib. And I confronted his cardiologist in a very professional, very,
Absolutely.
Nice way.
Right.
But I just said, "Hey, how did this get missed?" And he was like, I'm so sorry. I missed it. I take full responsibility. I missed it. But the problem is again, the doctor is not bad.
No.
I really like him and I really respect him. But you are so forced to go just back to back to back with patients that, especially my dad has seen the same doctor since 2008. So for him, it's a little social, time.
Yeah.
And my dad has no complaints. He's never complained about any chest pain. He's never complained about anything that would even remotely make someone think AFib. Mm-hmm. And so he probably looked at it, was like, "Oh, you're fine," and sent him on his way.
And that could have been detrimental.
Oh, he could have had a stroke. And I thank God, God's mercy was in that one for sure.
Yes. And honestly, that happens to us just like it happens to everyone else. And sometimes when I get really fired up about it, I think about these people who do not have someone in their corner. What if he didn't have you? What if you were not looking at that EKG? What if you were not fighting for him?
Yeah. And, patients who don't have advocates, patients who don't have, I made a whole Facebook post about it. Again, not to bash anybody.
Right. Education.
Yes. It makes me really sad for the patients who don't have somebody medical in their corner, family, friends, it's just really unfortunate because it's almost like you need somebody combing through, not to necessarily say your doctors are wrong, but what questions do you ask next? What labs do you ask for next?
Yeah. And so I want to just say what's missing? It's simple, but I feel like it's very powerful. It's time, it's access, and actually understanding the why behind the symptoms.
The why is my favorite part.
Yes.
It's literally, I love taking the most complicated patients, and they're not complicated. I mean, yes, they're complicated to me too.
Yes.
But asking those probing questions that, again, you're with me for 30 minutes to an hour.
Yes.
And depending on, which model that we're in, but, knowing that we have that time to probe those questions, we need to figure out, instead of just treating headaches, instead of just treating diarrhea, instead of just treating hormone issue, or, fatigue or lack of libido, we should be asking and having time to check more things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it should give us, we should have the time to say, why is this happening?
Exactly. I mean, Is it hormones? Is it inflammation? Is it gut health? Is it stress? Is it their lifestyle? Sometimes they don't need medication. They just need a lifestyle adjustment. But all of those things matter, and they usually get ignored in traditional care because they have 7 minutes with their provider, sometimes 2, you know?
Yeah. I had a friend tell me she worked at a doctor's office, and she said there was one patient in particular who timed their doctor because they were known for being super speedy. Timed their doctor in and out in 90 seconds.
What?
90 seconds. And again, like, is it because the schedule's super full for that? We don't know, right?
No.
But that is what's missing. Like, it's people feeling like they're supposed to be this way, and that they're just supposed to accept, that their labs suck, or that they feel terrible and their labs are fine. Like, but there's always something underlying. Had a patient come in yesterday, brand new patient, and referred to us by a primary care provider in the area. And he was like, her labs are fine. I don't know what's wrong. So she comes in, she's having diarrhea 15 times a day, wakes up in the middle of the night. And, not all the times do I have the answers, but like when you told me you're waking up in the middle of the night, you had a completely normal colonoscopy 8 months ago. Like you're not supposed to have diarrhea 15 times a day.
Absolutely.
So like, then you start probing questions, right? You start researching a little bit more. And so I have done multiple certifications on like inflammatory bowel disease. And so the first thing that pops up is, well, how does this maybe fall under like an inflammatory bowel disease? So I just was honest with her. I said, I need you to give me a few minutes. I need to go look through one of my books because I have something like in the back of my brain. But before I tell you, like, this is what I'm concerned about, let me go look through my book. She was like, girl, take your time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just desperate for
Help
answers.
me.
Yeah. And so came, looked it up, and it was exactly, I now I can't diagnose her with it, but I was like, I'm worried that maybe you've got a microscopic colitis. And she was like, but I had a normal colonoscopy. And I was like, that's the thing, you can only see it if they took biopsies. They didn't take biopsies.
Wow.
And so now I've referred her back to GI. I've started her on a medicine. Again, this is where you blend conventional medicine and root cause medicine. But I put her on a prescription that will help, hopefully. I'll know in a couple days. But this is where you have to blend the two. Like, you have to ask more probing questions besides, oh, well, she's always had diarrhea. Yeah. So let's just kind of sweep it under the rug and move on.
I love that they sent her here because they knew that you were going to dig and you were going to figure it out. I love that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That kind of leads me into, we've built something completely different here. We've slowed healthcare down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so excited about, the new model that, we've brought in for you. But I mean, it actually works. That's why they're referring their patients to you.
It is. And the thing is it's not a one size fits all. It is, in direct primary care and functional medicine, you get longer visits. Again, you're with me for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but I'm not capping you at that.
No.
If our visit goes an hour and 15 minutes, if it goes 45 minutes, like I will stay late to help you if I need to.
Yes.
And so I feel like that is one big thing that I'm not sitting looking at a watch. I was at a therapist one time, and I'm such an advocate for therapy for everybody.
Yes.
And so I was at a therapist one time, and she literally, like, the last 10 minutes was like staring at her clock, not paying attention at all.
Oh no.
Interrupted me mid-sentence and was like, okay, our time is up. We'll have to continue next time. And I was like, are you kidding me? But I feel like sometimes that's what healthcare has turned into. And so here we've built such a different model. And so, like you said, we have longer visits. You have direct access to me. And so that's a nice thing is patients who are in this direct primary care functional medicine model, they've got a phone number that comes directly to my phone. So even if it's a weekend and, and none of my patients are abusing it, so I don't mind that they have it.
Right.
But that's part of the access that they have. If you wake up and, it's a Saturday and you're like, I have a UTI, okay, what pharmacy do you need me to call medicine into?
I love that.
And that's very different because otherwise you'd have to go to urgent care or you'd have to go to the ER. You're paying $175 for an urgent care visit plus, a urine sample and all that. Whereas here, like, the only thing you're paying for is a urine sample. You're not paying for your visit if you're in this model. And it's just really, really nice. And I sit down and I look at your labs from an optimal standpoint, not just a normal standpoint. And so, breaking that down, whereas a lot of times your doctors will look and see, not just doctors, you can look at your labs and say, oh, well, nothing's flagged abnormal, so I must be fine. But in reality,
you're on the cusp over here, or you're on the cusp over here.
Yeah.
And some people are very sensitive to that. Very sensitive.
And you don't wake up diseased overnight. Like
Nope.
you don't wake up one day and you've got full-blown diabetes. You've probably had insulin resistance for years, but nobody's
Slowly
checked an
building.
insulin level. Yeah. And so that's what we're doing here. I'm trying to really figure out why this is happening. And it's like my favorite piece of the puzzle because I get to build a plan that fits their life.
Yes. Not that one size fits all prescription. And the biggest thing that I'm finally seeing, like with what we've even, created, I would say like on my side before we had the direct primary care and the functional medicine, I did really try to have more of an integrative approach with my hormone care and, trying to take care of those patients when they weren't being heard by their primary cares. But I feel like finally our patients are being heard.
They are. And, it's funny that you say that about hormones because I'll have patients who come to me, women in particular.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, my doctor said my testosterone is fine and it's like 14. And I was like, but do you feel fine? They're like, well, no.
Right.
I have no drive to be with my husband. I have no drive to get up and do anything. I have no desire for anything. And then you or I work on hormones and they're like,
a different
what
human.
is this life?
I know.
Yeah. So it's really nice to be able
Yes.
to see that like light switch flip on.
Yes. And I mean, I want to say too, like we get it. We're living life. We're, between the two of us, we have 6 kids. Like we're busy.
Yeah.
Like we get the, some people look at this and they're like, I don't want a complicated plan. I don't want, to go into the, functional medicine because it can get complicated. Or no, we understand all of that too. And we're here to create something to work with them.
Yeah.
And I love that we've done that for our patients.
And that's where functional medicine and even the direct primary care model flows and shines and thrives because you're seeing me on a monthly basis.
Yes.
You have access to me one time a month or 30 times a month. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I've told some of my functional medicine patients, especially those who are having like anxiety and depression, and they're like, I don't really want to go see a therapist. Again, I'm an advocate for therapy,
Yes.
but maybe they don't have the funds for it, or maybe they just don't want to. And they've already kind of stepped out of their comfort zone and they've trusted me with their story. Maybe they're not ready to open up again. I'm like, if you just need to come talk to me for 30 minutes or an hour, like that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And so
they're already paid for that. They're in your model. They can see you 30 days a month if they want to.
They can.
I love that.
And I tell everybody I'm not a nutritionist, but if you need to bring me a dietary log and we'll sit and comb through it with a fine tooth comb and see if anything that you've been eating over the last 7 days is affecting your, bloating or whatever, your blood sugar, your bloating, come in.
Yeah.
You're in my model. That's what I'm here for.
Yes. I think it's awesome what we are doing with healthcare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different, but it's exactly what was needed.
It's really special.
Yes. It shouldn't feel rushed. Healthcare should not feel rushed. It should not feel confusing,
Right.
or, impersonal. Talking about confusing. So a lot of people know that my husband recently had, an accident and we were admitted into a hospital. I was so confused, and I'm a provider. I was so confused because I never got clarity or answers. I didn't see a doctor for like 3 days. And then finally, when the doctor comes in, they left out half the stuff. Like, I was so confused. It's like I get one thing from one person, one thing from another person. This person comes in to do this, but no one ever told us he even had that. So it was so confusing. And that is just not the way healthcare should feel for anyone, like at all. I am so frustrated with a lot of that, but I know that it just has to do with the system. And they probably have those, physicians there over so many patients that they just can't get to their rooms. And he's stable. Okay, we'll let him hang for a while. He's not ready to go home, but he's stable. So I'm just going to keep walking to the next room.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating.
I cannot even imagine. And you probably had so many questions that you wanted to ask.
Yes.
But, this goes back. Doctors are not inherently bad, but the system, just like you said, is horribly broken.
Yep.
And it's just really sad. And, thank God I was able to request his records and
Yes.
kind of take over his care and help get answers that clarification to what was
Right.
left out. What labs do we need to follow up on? What
Yes.
imaging do we need to follow up on?
Yes.
Because he was probably discharged and said,
Come back in 2 weeks to our trauma surgeon in Chattanooga. And I'm like, okay, I only saw you one time the whole visit. We're
Yeah.
probably not coming back to see you.
yeah, yeah. And, it's very nice to, have people in your pocket
Yes.
locally. And that's one thing, my physician friends that are local, like I never want them to think that what my frustration with is them in particular, because I can pick up the phone and just like when my dad diagnosed with AFib, I got him into C-stapiric the next day because it's nice to have people, but that system is just broken. Yeah.
And we're trying to make it different. And I feel like we're making it exactly what people are looking for now. And I'm just really excited that we have that here. So if you ever felt like healthcare just isn't working for you, you're not crazy. You may just be in the wrong model.
And there's a better way.
Absolutely. And we would love to take care of you. If you are local to us, Rome or Rockmart, WeCare Health and Wellness would love to see you, or, Casey at our direct primary care in our Rockmart location. And if you love this episode, just share it with someone that you know who may need to hear it. Make sure to subscribe and follow WeCare Health and Wellness for more education and behind the scenes content. And at the end of the day, don't forget,
We care. See you next time.